Let's get to Ricardo here. See what Ricardo is up to. Hi, Ricardo. What's going on?
Hey, Dr. Drew, how are you?
Good. What's up?
Hey, so say again.
What's up with you?
So last April, I had an anxiety attack while I was driving, and it kind of came out of nowhere. And the night before, I'd been having a couple drinks and partying and whatnot. But then, ever since that event, now ever since, like, if I ever go out and have a couple or have a good time or anything, I noticed that the next day I just feel like miserable, like a lot of anxiety, social, don't want to be anywhere or do anything.
Okay.
And just wondering, like, what's going on? How do I get back? What is causing that?
Well, it's two things. One is acute alcohol withdrawal, which is that feeling of anxiety and misery the next day. So having a good time, you're going to have to take a look at what really is going on there. And as a result of that withdrawal symptom of the anxiety and the sort of the switch on of your autonomic nervous system, you triggered a panic attack on top of that, which can happen. It's not uncommon. The problem with panic is once you trigger panic, you tend to have recurrent panic, or you're worrying that you're going to have panic, which just escalates the anxiety you have, which makes you more likely to have panic. So it's two things. It's the alcohol withdrawal and the panic, and they're both feeding on each other. So, is there a history of alcoholism in your family?
No.
Nobody that's had no relatives, uncles, aunts, that's grandparents, had people who've been concerned about their alcohol consumption?
Not that I know of, no.
All right. Well, good. So it's not been a major genetic burden, and maybe it's not alcoholism. Maybe you're just getting withdrawal symptoms from binging a little too much. There is alcohol withdrawal associated with binge alcohol. That's not alcoholism. It's just something you got to pay attention to.
Okay.
All right. And if you keep getting the panic, there are good medicines for the panic if it really keeps bothering you. You ever had a panic attack?
I am almost an expert on anxiety.
Me too.
Yeah.
I have generalized anxiety disorder and panic.
Oh, I have generalized. All right.
Hey, good times.
GAD, baby. Let's do it.
Good times, right? So,
Not really, but yeah.
Yeah. And when I was your age, I had a lot. I got treatment around your age and was in therapy for quite a time, and seemed to have gone away. But,
really?
Yeah.
Do you do any of the like behavioral therapy things still, or just
No, I never did that. My thing was, as I understand it in retrospect, was because I had kind of an abusive parent. I never got a good sort of connection between my spontaneous feelings, which come out of the body, and a sort of a experience of them and an ability to regulate them and understand them. They were just off in the distance somewhere. I couldn't really feel them, but I could feel anxiety.
Oh yeah.
And so when I connected up, the anxiety kind of went away. And and the panic I sort of outgrew. There was more 18 to 25 kind of stuff.
That's the window, pretty much, right? Yeah. I mean,
good times, huh?
I think just being able to identify what you're feeling is so powerful instead of just being like, what the hell am I feeling? Questioning. That's what I've learned through therapists and stuff.
Yes. So that's what, and sometimes I think people like you and me that are not deeply connected with our feelings, anxiety is all we're left with or something. It's some sort of residual of not being connected. And part of it is also being very focused on other people. And, if you don't have your feelings to guide you, it's pretty anxiety provoking.
Yeah. I mean, I think it might differ from person to person, but I feel like I'm really good with identifying my exact emotions. That's why I think I'm good with communicating with people, and there's really nothing left on the table for me. It was just this, for me, it was just purely genetic. It's been
it does have a genetic basis.
My mother's family has it, and it was something that just really, really messed up my life. But I also am grateful for it because I think it gave me it made me so afraid that I really had to I really wanted to do something in comedy and do something that with my life that I wanted to do. And I don't think if I went through the dark ages of I can't get out of this darkness at a regular, quote unquote, regular job, I think that I wouldn't be doing what I love. So I think there is a blessing to the
Of course,
to the curse.
of course. That if you're too normal, it's not so interesting. But
Yeah,
when
right.
you have things to overcome, you'll make choices and you'll work hard at it.
I would
that kind of
trade
thing.
though to just be normal and just be able to
I don't
sleep
know about
at
that.
night.
Worrying's not so interesting.
So.
But I had panic when I was 19. It was disabling, man.
Dude, me too.
I
17. I was 17.
Oh, I couldn't get out of bed for a while, and I did not have any idea what was going on. It was something else.
Good.
I thought it was
the
having
good old days.
Yeah, I thought I was having seizures. I mean, obviously, before my medical training, I thought I was just going crazy,
I mean,
dying.
you have medical training.
And now I do, but then I didn't.
Yeah, but even I mean, I still don't.
Oh,
So.
let's talk more anxiety. Let's talk anxiety with Nick. It's always an uplifting conversation. Nick, what's going on?
Hi, Dr. Drew.
Hi, buddy.
I just had a question about, so I'm going to be going down to college next year, and I'm not really a very outgoing person, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering, do you have any tips or suggestions on how I can work on being a more bright and like outgoing person and make friends easier? Just like
I like the way Nick's talking to
that
two
makes sense,
guys who
like
have panic and anxiety for whom this was the very issue. I know you, but I was dealing with this in college too. You like you said, you got known, you found another strategy. You know, you got some.
Yeah, I think, especially for Nick, I mean, I think the thing to do would be exposure therapy.
Skill. Yeah.
Or just
Yeah,
exposing
exposure, that's
yourself
exactly
to
correct.
things that you are uncomfortable with. That's why stand-up comedy is so good, because it's like a controlled panic attack when you go on stage. You're super nervous, especially if it's like a crowd that doesn't like you. So, go into whatever makes you uncomfortable. You have to sort of dwell in that, go to that place. So after a while, it won't be uncomfortable anymore.
Eric is absolutely right that most of the anxiety type disorders, which include obsessive compulsive disorder, I don't know if you
Yep.
have some of that. I got some of that too.
Throw some of that on there.
We
I got
a
it
little
all.
bit of that. Well, anxiety and OCD kind of overlap a little bit, and it's about going into these environments in ways that you can tolerate the doses, right? If you're going to go into these environments, go into a frat party and you can't do anything, you're frozen, or you can just sit in the corner, that is not going to help. But you got to go into environments where you can start developing a skill, where you can feel comfortable, where you can talk to people. Some of it may be making a cohort of friends that go with you or something, but exposure, and develop a skill that you can rely on, okay?
Yeah. So like, would it make sense to like, I only use self-checkout. So would it make sense to like start using the cashiers for real?
Everything like that.
Yeah.
Yes. You will be shocked at how much just these small little changes will start to build themselves. Nadav, did you have this, Nadav? Is that why you're putting the advice up there?
Yeah. I mean, when I was a freshman in college, like it was just like, oh shit, I've only grown up around Jews and I've never been around this many Christians.
Give this.
at once.
This is good advice. So go ahead and give it. I'll let you give it.
Kind of give yourself little assignments where, if you see say you're walking on campus and you see a stranger wearing a nice shirt, be like, hey, I like your shirt. Small doses. If you're at a restaurant or at a fast food place, try and learn something from one of your servers. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, just try and learn something about it.
So it's generally give small compliments, not weird ones,
Right.
small ones, and then make conversations where you can. It's
Low stakes conversations.
I had this too. The idea of making a conversation with a stranger was impossible for me. Impossible.
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of stuff that you got to expose yourself to, and it gets better.